Get ready to explore the fascinating world of wine, talking with people who grow it, make it, and spend their lives devoted to the noble grape. With the largest wine production in the world, Italy has had vino in its blood for millennia. So come with me on a journey, traveling to the heart of Italy, then to both its alpine north and the volcanoes of the south, to meet with some producers making truly exciting wine in La Bella Italia. Arguably the most famous region in Italy for wine, where rolling hills flow down to the Maremma coast, Tuscany produces some of Italy's most prized bottles. But the ancient home of Tuscany is truly Chianti, with the essence of it being the vinous heartland of Chianti Classico. This region's hills and valleys provide the best spots in all of Chianti for the native grape Sangiovese to achieve maximum ripeness. The great estates here, some dating back 1,000 years, were the country seats of the rich and powerful families of the city-states like Florence and Siena. In their castelli, they lived among the best of Italian art, culture, food, and of course wine, with many of them playing a central role in producing the world-renowned Chianti. The estate I'm about to visit, the Castello di Broglio, is one of these aristocratic seats where the Ricasoli family played a pivotal part in defining Chianti. What do you think makes this area of Chianti Classico so special?
I think because it has a very peculiar character and is something that you cannot do elsewhere. So you might use the same grape variety, Sangiovese, you know that is planted a little bit everywhere in the world, but here in Chianti, and now Chianti Classico, because we are in the very historical heart of this region that is called Chianti Classico. It has a very peculiar character that differs from many others, Sangiovese, from the rest of Italy and from the rest of the world.
So here we are in Broglio, the center of Chianti Classico. This is the heart of it, isn't it?
Almost the symbol. And actually, Broglio, Castello di Broglio, is a magnificent construction that belongs to my family since almost 900 years, has been the birthplace of modern Chianti that has been a revolution in the 19th century, because one of my ancestors, Bettino Ricasoli, wanted to improve the quality of his wine, and at the end, in 1872, wrote down what it became to be the blend, the formula of modern Chianti and now Chianti Classico.
So Chianti, it's made from this grape, Sangiovese. What do you think really represents a truly amazing Sangiovese, an amazing Chianti Classico?
An amazing Chianti Classico is the one that when you first pour it in the glass, you enjoy it for pleasure. And it always goes well with food.
Yes. So actually, I hear you've been to China.
Yes.
Would you recommend Chianti with Chinese food? Would you recommend some of your wines?
I think from the spicy Sichuan to, you know, the easy and fat duck. Because, you know, Sangiovese has a little bit of acidity, not too much, but the amount that is needed to enjoy and to clean your palate when you have some dishes that have a content of fat. So the Peking duck, I mean, wow. Amazing. I would open immediately a bottle of Castello di Broglio.
Have you had the red braised pork? That's the fatty pork
with
layers?
Yes, I love it.
Now that I can imagine would go wonderfully.
Absolutely.
Sangiovese was called the blood of Jove, not just for its red hue, but also for its intoxicating aromas and powerful palate. Redolent with cherry notes, spices, and perfume lift, it can make a lovely, easy bread perfect with pasta, or in its reserva expression, has enough weight and body to be ideal with the hearty, meaty foods of the region, long famous for the bistecca alla fiorentina. Sangiovese truly is a versatile, expressive grape, and tasting Baroni Ricasoli's different Chianti Classicos can really open your eyes to its different personalities.
So the first wine is Broglio Chianti Classico 2017.
Wow, Thank you so much.
You're
and you're
welcome.
pouring it for me.
Of
And
course.
always very nice. Oh, so this is a beautiful, beautiful ruby color.
It is, and you immediately get this cherry notes that is so typical of our Sangiovese.
When I smell this, for me, it's so lively. You have, spices, you have fruits. It's just such a lovely, lovely, fragrant smell. In Chinese, we say 香. Yeah? 很香啊. It's very fragrant and lifted.
Fragrant, I love that.
Oh, do you like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like perfume. I'm gonna try this. Beautiful atmosphere with the hills of Chianti in the background.
Some wind.
Now, this for me is a classic Chianti Classico. So you have the acidity there, but it's not too high. You have tannins, but it's not too hard. What kind of food would you have with this?
Well, I would pair it with some pasta, some noodles.
Oh, that would be lovely.
With
yes.
meat sauce.
I noticed that each of the labels on the back, we have a rooster.
Correct.
Yes.
The black rooster is the symbol of this territory.
Okay.
So it's the sign of distinction of our appellation that differs from the ordinary Chianti. So this is Chianti Classico and is the very center of our region. Each bottle of Chianti Classico has to bear this symbol.
Okay. Well, this is a beautiful wine. I can imagine drinking it with all sorts of food, and it can also almost be drunk by itself because
Absolutely.
the tannins are so smooth. Wonderful. Well, cheers.
Salute.
One has to agree that Tuscany truly produces the most outstanding Sangiovese wines in the world. But beyond Chianti Classico, there are other regions which also provide the perfect growing conditions for this grape. To the south lie the towns of Montepulciano and Montalcino, both famous for producing Sangiovese. And the winery CARPEVINUM produces wine from all three of these regions: the Chianti Classico, the famous BDM or Brunello di Montalcino, and the wine that CARPEVINUM is perhaps the most famous for, the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. It exports it to over 60 countries worldwide, and this Reserva level wine has been awarded, achieving no less than 3 times one of the 100's world's best wines in Wine Spectator. I am so excited to be able to taste this classic expression of Sangiovese. Wow, when you pick it up, don't be worried if Vino Nobile di Montepulciano appears a bit brownish or garnet. It should be. It's aged for longer than Chianti Classico. And then you smell it. Wow, you can really taste the time this wine has been in bottle. There's so much truffle and leather and gaminess. There's a beautiful notes of clove, a classic flavor for Sangiovese grapes. And then you have the dried red cherry, those fruits that are slowly coming out. When you smell it, the complexity comes in layers and layers in the glass. Wow, when you taste it, that aging time has really tamed those fierce tannins of the Sangiovese. In the mouth, it's so smooth and it's really rounded. This is not a wine for the faint-hearted. It is the wine for the people who like it bold and like it big. It has strength and it has vigor. It is a bit velvety, but it's a strong velvet feeling. A bit tough, like a bit of leather's in there. What you've got is a rich mouthfeel and a real roundness, but never does it become too soft and too plump. And that way, you can pair it with all sorts of delicious, strongly flavored food. Oh, I want a steak right now. And that is a truly great expression of how serious Sangiovese can get. Oh, it's wonderful. Now, traditionally, these 3 areas, the Chianti Classico, the Brunello di Montalcino, and the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. They were all produced from a large area. But nowadays, more and more wineries are producing single vineyard wines in order to express more of the individual characteristics found within this larger region. So let's return to the Castello di Broglio and talk with Barone Ricasoli more about these single vineyard wines.
So second wine is Colle di là.
I love this label.
This is a small detail of a design, a drawing that was made in 1584. And was showing Chianti at that time. So you have Siena on the background, there is Castello di Broglio, other fortresses, villages they're showing. And we have, of course, the original at our winery.
Fantastic.
Let's
wow.
taste this beautiful wine.
I cannot wait to taste this. So beautiful.
Vintage 16. A marvelous, marvelous vintage.
It just jumps out of the glass, isn't it? It's so filled with liveliness. You just smell that and it just makes you happy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this one is 100% Sangiovese?
100% Sangiovese. As you well know, Chianti Classico traditionally is the result of blending different cuvées of Sangiovese,
Yes.
but sometimes also with something else. So this is quite rare. We are not the only one, but it's quite rare.
Well, I smell this. I have to taste it. It smells so wonderful.
The vintage is outstanding, you know, it's a vintage that has been perfect, perfect.
And for me, what really, really is special about this wine is the fragrance and the mouthfeel put together. The mouthfeel has this incredible, it's strength, but it's gentle.
It is.
It's got an elegance, but it's also got a sort of lightness. It's not standoffish, it's more friendly.
It's elegant because there is a long finish. And when you get the wine in the palate, it's not the one that you say, boo, boom, large. No, it gets you little by little and with a long, long finish. I think that this is really the true expression of elegance.
And I think this is so interesting for people who are really interested in wine, to be able to taste a blend like the Broglio, which is taken from many vineyards, and then to contrast it with these single vineyards that really express the soils and the locations. So
Absolutely.
it's a great project here. Chianti Classico labeling follows the general rule of wines from Italy. That is, regular wines from the area just have the region on the label. But wines made from more riper grapes can bear the label superiore, which can be better, but not necessarily. The truly ageable quality wines from the region will often have the word Riserva on the label. Unlike France, in Italy, Riserva is a legally defined term. But in Chianti Classico, gone one step more. They have a new term meaning Gran Selezione, indicating the top of the top. These wines are just entering the marketplace and I'm eager to try them. So we're going to continue on to the third wine, the wine I'm very much looking forward to.
Castello di Broglio, Gran Selezione, vintage 2015.
Oh, please, please, please. Fantastic, thank you.
Welcome.
So, before you put the bottle back, I want to ask you about this Gran Selezione.
This is a completely new category since just few years. I think it's the first time in the world that an appellation is creating a new category on top of everything.
So this represents sort of, if we say Chianti Classico is a triangle,
Is the top of the pyramid.
we are right at the top of the pyramid. So
Correct.
this one might be more expensive. Yes?
Well,
Let's see if we can taste it. So this one immediately to me smells much richer,
yes,
much bigger.
it is. It is big.
It smells like it's got a bit more power.
And it's made with the best parcel of Sangiovese from the entire estate. And depending on the vintage, we might use also some other grape varieties. Chianti Classico require minimum 80% of Sangiovese, and 20% is free to the producer to use either Sangiovese or other local or international grape variety.
This wine, would it be made by the selection of the best grapes or the best vineyards, or is it just the best wine?
The best vineyard. That
Best vineyards.
very often at the end means also the best wines.
Oh, okay. And what I like about this is that you have the sweetness of fruit, but also the wonderful strength of the structure.
The structure and the intensity is there, but very balanced all together.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for leading me through
Cheers.
this wine. Cheers. As you can see, the aristocrats of Chianti Classico have long made delicious wines from their native Sangiovese grapes. But what happens when they want to break that old school mold and crack out some funky new wine styles? Well, they leave the traditional hills of Sangiovese and head to the seaside to find a maritime climate where they can out-Bordeaux the Bordelais. So come with me in the next episode as we head to the Maremma coast and meet not with Superman, but with some super Tuscans.